Our team is based on a foundation, and can you feel how strong that foundation is, Mr. Carl Taylor?
Yeah.
When I first met Mr. Taylor, we were, I think, in Budapest speaking, and one of the things that he had said from stage many times is trust the farmer. Follow the leader, I think, but trust the farmer. And that's exactly where one half of my family came from, was a farming community. The other half was City Mouse, right? And together they made a great home for me. You know, there's a lot of things that led to this room being here. One of which was the way I was brought up. You know, you go to college, and many of you that have kids hope your kids go to college and they come out with a great career, and maybe they'll be a doctor, a lawyer, one of those titles. You know, we know better in this room. But when I got out of college and immediately wanted to get into sales, my parents were like, what did we do? Where did we go wrong? But you know what? They led by example because they own their own business. They were entrepreneurs. And so, of course, when I got out of college, that's what I was going to do. I had no choice. They gave me the perfect example. You know, I wouldn't be here if Mark hadn't tricked me into business. But I also wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have been born. Can I get a big round of applause for my mom, Pat? Right there. And for those of you in the room that do have children, especially mothers, I was split breech, so Judy, hopefully you never have to experience this. I know we're within about 2 weeks of a new baby here, maybe 3. And I think she said this morning maybe we had thrown her into contractions even with the excitement. But let's talk about home for a minute. You know, I'd looked forever for this company. I'd looked for a home. And so many people that come here, when they're here, the first thing they start to say, especially if they've been at another company, is I finally found a home. And I'll share some things with you in a minute, but the foundation we have is as strong as any I've ever seen, and the team we have recognizes that. It is a perfect partnership. So again, a big round of applause for Mr. Carl Taylor and Kirk Hansen. What's great about this is I think Todd Thompson, my business partner, the genius of our partnership, neither one of us could have been recruited at the time we found Kyani. We were even a little jaded on the industry because we were calling on companies that failed over and over again, clients. And then we found Kyani and they were just different. Nothing they could have said would have convinced us. All we did is watch what they did, not what they said. And we lead by example. Our markets are attracted to us by the way we act, not by what we say. And I want to share a couple of things with you today that hopefully will accelerate your business, but let's take a look at what you've done. Look at that. 20 months. We're just under 90,000 reps worldwide. We'll hit 100,000 next month. Won't we?
Yep.
Easily.
Yep.
And there's an announcement coming. I can't tell you, sorry. But let's talk about how we had some humble beginnings. Because there's people in this room that are brand new wondering, yeah, I want to see all these pin levels up here, these colored diamonds, they're making all these big checks. I wonder if someday ever I'll get there. That's 20 months ago. And on the left is Mr. James Bradford with a sapphire.
Yeah.
Card program sign in his hand. Sapphire. 20 months ago. Now look at this. This is what can happen. And you know what? We're accelerating. So there are guests in the room today that will be double red diamond in a year. How many remember Shark Week? Or Mark Week, as we always called it. Right after this nucleus of people came together with James and Brandon, Mark started coming in and flying in from Dubai. And we called it Mark Week. And Mr. Mark Davenport is the reason, again, that we're all here. He hunted me down, stalked me, and then introduced me to a company I couldn't resist. And when he would come in, we'd have these fly-ins where people would come from all over the country and sit down and hear the story of what we were about to build.
Right.
About to build. We hadn't built it yet, but we cast a vision. And the vision has more than come true. And it was early. We were all doing this on faith, but we knew. You know how sometimes you just know how the story's going to end? You start to watch a movie and you're like, I already know how this ends. I could tell you some funny stories, but we don't have time. But when you have that kind of certainty, you get very calm and excited at the same time. You know you're in the right place, you're home, and you don't ever have to look left or right ever again. You just move forward. You know, I had to show these two pictures for two reasons. Let's talk about being humble. I always want to keep our leaders humble, so sorry guys. On the left, you see our two top-ranking double red diamonds. Can you tell that James and Brandon have different personalities? I think one's praying and one's screaming. But this was taken early on as they started to build out Las Vegas. And then we had a convention in Las Vegas. And what's funny is my dad used to say, you know, you can own things or they can own you, but it wouldn't be nice to get up tomorrow and decide, hey, I want to fly to Hawaii and go first class and not even worry about how much it cost. And so I gave Mr. Tran my car at the road rally and said, you want to drive my car home? And he was like, sure. Now, after I found out how he drove yesterday, we might have a talk. But because James had come to me and said, you want to go to Hawaii? I'm like, yes. So instead of coming home, we just flew to Hawaii. And he showed me the bush that he used to live under. You think I'm kidding? We have a video of this. No matter where you are in life or what your position is or what your circumstance is, no problem. And it wasn't just James. When I met Brandon, he was going through some major issues. When I met Mr. David Nieves, he was just walking again. He was not able to walk, he was in a wheelchair. And because of that, he'd lost his business, was hiding his car in a friend's garage, and was almost homeless. Within 3 months, he's driving around a $120,000 sports car. There's a place for you here, no matter what. And everyone can be right up here in the front row next year. Look at them now. How about a big round of applause? Approximately 12 months after James stood up with his sapphire sign and got awarded his car, he was red diamond. And now, of course, double red diamond. What a difference a year can make. So let's talk about our income claims. Oh, sorry, disclosure. I call this our income claim because if we hold it up against any other company, we kick their butt. Period. And I was going to show you what a red diamond or double red diamond makes, but they don't publish those numbers. So let's just look at the biggest number they publish. And you can't see it in the back, so let me just tell you. Purple diamond, average income, $58,389 a month. Average, not top check. And you know what? At that level, it takes, on average, 11.2 months to get there. Less than a year. I've never seen this in the industry before. It doesn't exist. The only difference between them and you, or any of us, is time and how we spend it, how we spend the next 12 months, how we spend our time every day. We choose to spend our time, or it gets spent for us by our boss, our employer. Other obligations that we don't choose. They'll choose us, and they'll suck up 100% of your time. You have to be intentional about what you do every day. And when you decide and then act on that and take that back, you're taking the biggest asset you'll ever have, because there is no more. When it's over, it's over. Let's talk about the done-for-you model. What is it? I was trying to summarize this in the easiest way possible, but before I do, let me show you this. The early bird gets the worm, but the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. Think about that. The second mouse is like, no, you go do the hard work, and I'll just sit there and wait, and I'll go get the cheese. Go get your cheddar. It's waiting. The done-for-you model's done. It works. This is evidence, and it'll only get better. But there are decades of experience that have gone into creating something that makes it for everyone to win. And the easiest definition of the done-for-you model combines online and offline network marketing into a simple copy, paste, and send system that makes it possible for anyone to succeed. It's your choice to succeed here. It's not who gives you the right to succeed. It's justice, right? It's not, keep this in mind, it's called the done-for-you model, not done-without-you model. You can't sit there and just have checks fall from the sky. That does not exist. So it's automated webinars that are done for you. You don't have to make those, but they're pointless unless you invite a prospect to take a look. It's PBRs that are done for you. You never do that meeting. That's somebody in your organization that does them for you. But they're worthless without you inviting pre-informed prospects. Three-way calls are done for you. You're not going to answer your prospect's questions. You're not even going to present the business to your prospect ever if you do this right. Someone else or something else will do it for you. But without you arranging the time to set those two people together, it won't work. Launch events are done for you. You know, there's a crew of people in all these different markets setting up audio, visual, doing all the work. You show up, sit down, and just put your prospect next to you, and someone else does the work. Kind of reminds me of corporate. They do almost all the work and give us over half. And I don't think it's too much, I guess, but I think it's generous. Thank you. Now we get to inviting. I don't always copy, paste, and send, but when I do, I usually make money. I'm so sad that guy retired. He was awesome. He lives in Dallas, by the way. Yeah, he was the first one to been a prospect in McKinney, I think. Look him up. So here's the thing. This is where you come in. And then about this time, you might be thinking, I don't know, what am I doing here? Well, it starts with the top 20. You sign up, you create your top 20 list. And about that time, you might start to think, oh no, I hope this isn't like the old way, right? Where we're gonna have you sit down and cold call people, make presentations you're not good at, answer questions you don't know the answers to. No, it's a done-for-you model. You still make a top 20 list. Now in your cell phone, in the Team Fusion app, you can go to the prospector, import your contacts with a click of a button. And when you add them to your active list, it automatically fills out the top 20 on the right. You don't have to type anymore. How easy is that? You can make your top 20 list in about a minute and a half. Can you do that? Those that complete the top 20 sponsor 3 times more distributors. These are statistics we just got from Idaho about, last week. They have twice as many product orders and are 40% more likely not to quit. Just the ones that filled out the top 20. And now we made it less than a 2-minute process. Uh-oh. Now what? What's next? This is where people, and it cracks me up because of what you used to have to do in this industry. This is where people start to go, oh, I'm a little scared, I don't know. I can push the invite button, but maybe I'll die if I do. You don't. It's not gonna hurt. Your finger doesn't come back with a mousetrap on it. You're fine. And you know what? The people that do best here realize what we have and they don't care what people think because they know. They know. We have what they want, and if they don't want it, that's fine. Don't bug them and try to drag them in here. They're just gonna be strange when they get here. Get more of this, right? That's all we need. This is so true in everything. Everything that you want in life is on the other side of fear. And you have a choice. Do you let your fears rule you? Or do you go get anything you want in life? There's so many stories you're going to hear this weekend of people that had so much greater odds of success than you do. Your path is so much easier than theirs, and yet they're excelling. They're doing incredible things that you can't imagine. I love this picture. This is actually, I would say it's at Carl's Ranch, but let me tell you how this picture got taken. When you go on the executive trip, you get to go to Idaho, and you get to go see all those cool things you just saw in the video, and you really get a feel inside of what this company is built on. And then part of that trip, you go to a ranch that Carl had built, and I don't even know where it is. It's off the map almost for me, because you go to a small town, you see all this cool stuff, then you drive out past where the cell phones don't work. Think of that. Look at the crew that's here with no cell phone. People were freaking out. Like, what? My phone doesn't work. What do I do? They're lost. All of a sudden, their head comes up, and they're like, where are we? Middle of nowhere. Oh, now what do we do all day? Seriously, you know what's amazing? Once we got out of cell range, and we got up to Carl's ranch, we started to have a blast. People started to communicate with each other. They started to interact as humans. We spent the whole day. I said, Mr. Taylor, what happens if there's an emergency out here? He says, well, we got a shortwave radio that works sometimes. So if you know or have met Kirk's brother, Mr. Jim Hansen, he's kind of the straight one of the two. He's more serious, you know, I thought. And but I think he's got a little devious side in him, because we were like, hey, you think we could sneak some of those four-wheelers out and take them out of the barn? He's like, yeah, let's go. And then he takes us up this mountain. Carl's ranch is this little dot way in the background, so we're so far away from humanity, this almost looks like a painting. Wow. And we stood up there. What you don't see is there's like a 50-foot drop right behind us. We stood there and took a picture, and I was like, you know what? Let's go back down and get the rest of them. You guys just had that experience if you went to Nevis climbing the mountain. I missed that one. But the whole point is we want to bring everybody, and we can. That's our mission. That's our focus now. No one left behind, right? Right. And by the way, who's in military service here? Can I get a round of applause for our military? Thank you. Without you, there'd be no Kayani. Without Kayani, we wouldn't have a home. But here's what I want to make sure that everyone in the room knows, that we're listening to you. I created a survey, and if you would please do me a favor, write this down. Go to teamfusion.support. Not .com, teamfusion.support. And the only thing you're going to see is a short survey. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to fill out. We're going to give away 3 iPads. And then we're going to ask you questions like, how can we help? What would you improve? Where do you need help? If you were running this, what would you change? What's your rank? What's your pay-as rank? And believe me, we're going to take this and come back to you with solutions. Is that cool? Yeah. When we say no one left behind, every voice will be heard, and we will read every one of these. Now, you can say whatever you want, because it's going to be in a small group. It won't be publicly shared. Don't worry. So give us real feedback. Is this simple? To hit that little invite button? You know, those 4 people there, Adam, Dwayne, who's in the room, Jonathan's in the room, Keith's a friend of mine, Scott, a friend of mine. They're all my warm market. They're all signed up. They'd be on anybody's chicken list because they all made over $1 million a year before. And they're all in Kayani. Is it easy to hit this? Is it simple? Can you do it? Can you? Okay. Here's the real question. Will you?
Yes.
Will you?
Yes.
This